In today's video, we are going to be learning how to cut and sew this beautiful style right here. This is the one I recreated. I'll be showing you how to draft bustier for different body sizes, how to cut it on the fabric, how to sew it, and also how to sew the sleeve. So this video is packed. So do well to hit the subscribe button, like the video as we dive right into it. Okay, so you'll be needing a pattern paper for this, and the first thing you're going to do is to draw a straight line. So after that, you're going to go ahead and mark out your bust line, your under bust line, your waistline, and your hip line. So the measurements for the bust line is 12.5, the under bust is 16, and the waistline is 18 inches, and while the hip line is 27. So I'll just go ahead and draw it out. Then after that, I'll divide my shoulder by 2. I'll mark it there, and I'll come down by 1 inch. While here, I'm going to go in by 3 inches for the neck width, and I'll connect it to that 1 inch point like this. After we are done with this, for the neckline, for now, I'll be using 3 inches, and I'll be connecting it to that 3 inches neck width point using my friend curve like this. Then after that, I'm just going to go down by 9 inches, which is my armhole depth. So if you don't know your armhole depth, just make sure it's about 2 inches away from your bust line. Although this is not applicable for all body sizes, but most body sizes, 2 inches above the bust line works. I'm going to go ahead and draw a straight line, and that will be your chest. So on the chest line, I'm going to divide my shoulder again by 2, and I'll mark it there. And with my straight rule, I'm going to connect it to the shoulder like this, drawing a straight line. Then after that, on this point, I'm going to divide this line by 2, and then from this midpoint, I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch. And then with my friend curve, I'm just going to connect it from the shoulder through that 1/2 inch point like this. Then now on the bust line, I'm going to take my bust span measurements. That is, I'll divide it by 2, and I'll mark it on the bust line, on the waistline, and on the hip line. So from here, I'm going to go in by 0.75 inches on both sides. I'll do the same thing on the hip line like as well, and I'll draw a straight line. So if you're on the smaller size, you can use 0.5 on both sides. While on the under bust line, I'm going to mark 1 inch on both sides. So I'll just go ahead and draw a straight line to indicate the bust span. So go in just like I'm showing you right now, 1 inch on both sides right there, and I'll connect it. So if you're on the small size, you can use 0.75 inch on both sides. Then here I'm going to go down by 1 inch, and with my friend curve, I'm going to connect it like this. Okay, from this point now, I'm going to be dividing my bust by 4, and I'm going to be marking it right here. And after that, I'm going to be using my friend curve to connect. So I'll connect it drawing a dotted line like this, because I'll be changing the armhole with time. So from here, with my friend curve, I'm going to connect it from the bust point all the way to that midpoint right there like this. So you curve it as much as possible, and then from this point, go down by 1.5 inch. If you're on a small size, you can use 1 inch. Then after that, I'm just going to use my friend curve and connect it back to the bust point like this. So when you're done, I'm going to measure from here all the way to the under bust line. So pay attention to the way I place my tape rule. What I have is about 11.5, and I'll measure the down one to the under bust, and what I have is about 10.25. So the excess is about 1.25. So I'm just going to extend this line by 1.25 right there. So here I have a dart of 0.5, so I'm just going to replace it from where my bust measurement stops. I will replace that 0.5 inch there, and then with my friend curve, I'm going to connect it from that extended armhole all the way to the chest line like this. Then the next thing to do now, on the waistline, I'm going to divide my waist by 4. I'll mark it right there, and the dart from here to here is 1.5, so I'll replace that dart right there. And with my straight rule, I'm going to be connecting it to the chest line like this. Another thing to take note is waistline for the front is 18, while the waistline for the back is 16. So the excess is 2 inches. So I'm just going to be marking from the bust line. I'm going to go down by 2 inches, and I'll be connecting it to the bust point like this. So this will be the side dart. We are doing this so that when we are joining the back to the front at the side seam, the back and the front will be equal, right? Then on the hip line, I'm going to divide my hip by 4. The dart that is there is 1.5, so I'll replace it. And then one important thing is to add extra 3 inches to this measurement, because this top has an exaggerated hip. I'll connect it all the way to the waistline. So you can curve it as much as you can at this point. If you have a hip curve, better, so that you can curve it as you connect it. Then after that, you just cut through it following the lines that I'm showing you right here. So at this point, see, after you cut, you just close the dart that is here and tape it down right here. So after that, I'll just use my straight rule and connect the chest line to the waistline, because I noticed that the line is no longer straight. So just go ahead and connect it back and then cut the remaining part of it. So this is the center front and this is the side front of this top. And then for the down part of the top, I'm going to be closing the darts. Just go ahead and tape it down, and with this we have closed the darts. So after we are done with this, we're going to be creating that shape that we have on these points. So to do that, I'll go down by 2 inches. From here, I will go in by 2 inches as well, and then I will still go in by 6 inches from this point. And then here I'm going to go up by 3.5 inches. So with my marker, I'm going to connect that 2 inches point. And then from the hip line, from here to here is the same as your bust span measurement, right? Then you're going to connect it all the way to that upper part, and then you take it down. So from the side seam, I'm going to go in by 2 inches and I'll connect it like this. So basically what I'm doing is to just try and recreate exactly what we have right there. So go ahead and cut it out. So for the back pattern, I have my pattern paper that I'll be using for the back right here, and I'll draw a straight line from the top of the paper. The first thing I'll do is to mark out my waistline, which is 16 inches. Remember I said my waistline for the back is 16 and it's shorter than the front. And then I'll also mark out my bust line, which is 12.5 inches. So with my straight rule, I'm going to connect it, drawing a straight line, just the waistline of this. Then on the top line, I'm going to divide my shoulder by 2. I'll mark it there and I'll come down by 1 inch. Then from this 1 inch point, I'm going to mark my armhole depth, which is 9 inches. And then now from here to here is 10. So I'm just going to mark that 10 inches on the other side, and I'll draw a straight line like this. So this will be the chest line for this top. What I have up here, which is my shoulder divided by 2, I'll mark it on the chest line and I'll draw a straight line all the way to that 1 inch point like this. Then from here, I'll mark the same neck width that I did for the front, which is 3 inches, and I'll connect it to this point like this. Then after that, I'm going to go down by 1 inch for the back, and with my front curve, I'm going to be connecting it, drawing a curve like this. And after I'm done with this, from here, I'm going to be dividing my bust by 4, and I'll mark it right there. And then I'll be dividing this line into 2 right here. So for the back, you don't need to go in by ½ an inch. Just connect from that straight line all the way to the bust measurements. There's a quarter of the bust measurements right there. And I'll draw my curve. So this will be the armhole for the back. So on the waistline, I'll divide my waist by 4. I'll mark it right there. I'm not using any dart for the back, so I'll just go ahead and connect it to the chest line like this. So after I'm done, another thing to do is I'm going to be going in by 0.5 inch from that center back, and I'll be connecting it all the way to above the chest line like this. So that 0.5 inch that I removed, I'm going to replace it on the back measurement, and I'll connect it back to the chest line like this. So I'll cut this part out. So after we are done cutting, that will be all for the back. For the down part of the back, I'm going to use what I have in front to cut the back. I'll be making a little changes, which I'll be showing you later on in the video. So another thing to note is that the side seam of the front and the back aligns together. So if you did the correct thing, your side seam should be equal. Then now I've gone ahead to cut on the fabric, and I added ½ an inch all round aside the side seam of the upper part and the down parts. I also cut the center front on fold. This pattern paper, I'll be using it to cut for the back, so I'm just going to remove it and place it aside right then. So when you open this up, this is what we have right here. So this is the center front and this is the side front. So go ahead and cut the lining as well. You can even add your hairstay to this, and then go ahead and sew it from the side seam all the way down to the other side. So for the back, I've also cut on the fabric, and this is what we have. I added ½ an inch for every other part except the zipper line and the side seam. I added 2 inches here, 1 inch there, and ½ an inch on the other side. While for the down part of the back, I added just 0.5 inch at the center back. While here I used 1 inch. Then for this side, I used ½ an inch, ½ an inch. So mind you, since I used ½ an inch here, on this part I used, instead of 2 inches, which is a normal sewing allowance for the side seam, I used 2.5 inches. So if you're using 2 inches as sewing allowance, replace that ½ an inch that we removed from the zipper line on this part. While for the down part, you are going to maintain your normal sewing allowance, which is 2 inches, and then you're just going to connect it from the waistline all the way to the hip line to draw the curve, as you can see right there. So after you're done, just open this up, and this is what we have for the back. So now I'm just going to be joining it with the lining as well, just the way we did for the front. But for the back, there will be an opening here, so I'm just going to be closing this using 0.25 inch sewing allowance. But for the down part, I'll use half an inch sewing allowance. So for the neckline of the front, it has an asymmetric neckline. So to get that, I'll go in by 2 inches from here. Then from this point, that 2 inches point, I'll go down by 6 inches. I'll draw a straight line connecting it. And then from that straight point, that 6 inches point, I'm going to connect it to the neckline like this. So on this other side, I'll go in by 2 inches as well. And with my French curve, I'm just going to be connecting it from that neckline point all the way to this point like this. So you can go ahead and curve this a little bit. Then now go ahead and cut it out like this. So this will be the asymmetric neckline for the front. So for the back, I'm just going to place what I have in front onto the back. The main thing is that the shoulder of the front must align to the shoulder of the back. So just trace out where your shoulder for the front stops. You mark it on the back, and you do the same thing on the other side as well. So just like the front, it is 2 inches away from the neckline. So with my French curve, I'm going to connect it all the way to the center back like this. Just go down by half an inch from that neckline point, and with your scissors, you're going to cut it out like this. So by the time you open it up, this is what we have. So now I'm just going to be joining the center fronts to the side fronts. Just the way we close our darts is the same way I'm going to do for this. I'm not going to be showing this in details because I assume we should know that by now. So by the time you're done, this is what we have. Make sure you iron this very well, notch it. And I've also done the same thing for the lining as well. For the lining, instead of adding hairstay, I just use wadding so that it will be fitted around the bust area properly. So just go ahead and use wadding for yours, for just the lining, and then you sew it. So after sewing it, I'm just going to be joining the lining to the main fabric at the neckline right here. So when you are done sewing, notch it open all the way to the other side, and then you understitch it. So after understitching it, you're going to be sewing it at the side seam. And then another thing to do is from the half an inch away from the shoulder, I'm going to mark 6 inches. So from that 6 inches point, I'm going to sew all the way down to the side seam, and I'll notch it, and then I'll cut out the excess. So when you're done sewing, you turn it to the right side. This is what we have. Go ahead and press this very well. So now I'm just going to be joining the lining to the back as well, and I'll be closing it at the neckline, at the zipper line, and at the side seam. So just like we did for the front, I'm going to go down by 6 inches like this, mark it, and then I'll close it from that 6 inches point all the way to the chest line. So after you're done, you iron it and turn it to the right side. This is what we have. So now I'm just going to be joining it, the back to the front at the side seam and also at the shoulder. So for the sleeve of this dress, it's just the same way you could draft out your sleeve for any dress. You will draft out the crown area. The only difference is the shape of the sleeve. So for this one, from that crown area, I'm going to go down by 7 inches. And then from here, that is 6 inches point that we marked out earlier. So I'll just go ahead with my French curve. I'm going to connect it all the way to the 7 inches point like this. So go ahead and add your sewing allowance and you cut it out. So after cutting it out, this is what we have. Open this up and this is what it should look like. So go ahead and sew this, joining it to the right side and turning it to the right side. So from here to here, that is the center to the other side is 6 inches, and the same with the other one, right? So that's how you know if you've done the correct thing. So just go ahead and join the sleeve to the bodice. So the part that we notched is where you're going to start sewing from. So this is the down part of the dress. So after you're done sewing, notch it and turn it to the right side. And so now I'll be joining the zipper to the front at the side seam. I'll just join it there, iron it, and this is what we have right here. So after you're done sewing, you can join the allowance to the side seam so that it does not come out, right? Then after that, you're just going to open this up and measure the waistline for the down parts. You're also going to open the bodice and measure the waistline for the upper parts. So make sure that they are equal for both the down parts and the lower parts.
Then when you're sure that they're equal, now you're just going to be joining it at the waistline. So you join the back and the front using 1/2 inch sewing allowance right there. So when you're done sewing, you're going to attach your zip to this, and that's basically all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. Please do well to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and leave a comment, and I'll see you in my next one. If you want to see how to sew the skirts, leave a comment in the comment section.